What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 104. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. It's posted over on YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 on the following Friday. Merch store, get all your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, it would be greatly appreciated. And then last but not least, we do have a special announcement in 1 month, as of, well, I mean, shortly after this podcast releases for the, MP3 guys and video guys, not live. Extra Life 2021 is coming up, and it is happening on November 20th. That is a Saturday. We're going to be going 24 hours streaming, raising money for Children's Miracle Network Hospital. So any way you can support, whether by watching, donating, even just spreading the word, would be greatly appreciated. So once again, that is going to be November 20th. It's a Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. It's going to start 24 hours of gaming, raising some money for the kids. So yes, that's coming up. Very excited for that. But for this week's episode of the podcast, as you can see, flying solo. I've got some fun topics today. Excited to chat with them, or chat about them, so let's get on into it. The first topic today is a viewer topic. If you guys ever have a topic for me that you'd like me to discuss and talk about, you can either put it in the comment section down below, or if you're on our Discord, you can pop it over into that tab section, whatever you want to call it. And I might get to it, like today. Papa Griff has submitted a topic, and it's about Disney. So I'm going to read it right here. Disney, which of these Magic Kingdom Disney classic attractions do you like the most, and why? When you were young and went to character spots for autographs and or photos, which of them was your fondest memory, or and which one was your #1 meet and greet? What's your favorite souvenir you were able to get? Which quick service or restaurant did you have the best food at? And if you could stay at any of the Disney resorts, which one would be on your list? So, obviously a lot of questions in that topic there. But yeah, I just thought it's a great topic to kind of do a little nostalgia trip for Disney. I haven't talked Disney on the podcast in a little while. So, I try my best to keep up with Disney, what's going on in the parks, especially through Tim Tracker and his content, seeing the new rides that are coming out or things that might have changed. Obviously with COVID being a whole thing, there's been adjustments left and right at theme parks, especially down in Florida, and it's been interesting to see how they've handled all that. But Disney's going through a lot of changes right now. They've added, recently they modified the Chinese theater in MGM or Hollywood Studios from the Great Movie Ride to making Minnie's Runaway Railway, which looks really fun and exciting. And then Epcot also recently just added the Ratatouille ride in the French Pavilion, which was pretty much just taken from Disneyland Paris and plopped over here. And watching ride-throughs of that, it looks like a lot of fun. It's a copy and paste, but that's fine. So that'd be fun to experience once we get to that point. And then I don't think they finished it yet, but I know they made a lot of progress. They are currently working on the Tron roller coaster from, I believe, Disney Tokyo or Shanghai Disney. Another copy and paste, bring that over to the Magic Kingdom right by Fantasyland and Tomorrowland, stuff like that, smack dab in the middle there. So a lot of changes going on right now. I think they're also redesigning Epcot entirely to kind of make that more streamlined and updated a little bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that eventually when we do go back. I haven't been... Disney World has been since 2015, I think was the last time we were there. And then Disneyland, I was lucky enough to go to a few times when I lived out in California, but then the last time I was there was 2019, I think it was, with a lady and some family. And that was good. That was a good time. A little tough to fit everything into one day. That's the only bad part of any trip I've gone to Disneyland. It's been that one day. But all good experiences. So anyways, looking back on the trips, getting back to the topic at hand. We're just going to focus on Magic Kingdom today because that's what Papa Griff asked. So I've talked about it past trips, or yeah, past trips in a former topic of the podcast talked about how, like, as a kid, some of the rides that I reacted to were quite different than as an adult. But there's a lot of good attractions and rides in Magic Kingdom. It's definitely one of the bigger parks that can definitely fill in your whole day. Some of the other ones, I think Epcot's probably the closest to spending a full day at compared to the other ones, just because it's more of the walk around you obviously get the rides and the attractions, but then you get the walk around of all the different countries and stuff like that. So that eats up a lot of your time of your day. But then Hollywood Studios, which they've been improving on, and then Animal Kingdom, it's kind of like you could do the whole day there, but like you have more leeway, I would say. Like, it's not as much of I mean, depending really on how you want to do your days, like jam-packed with attractions. I feel like Magic Kingdom, it's like boom, 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 boom. Like, you're going from ride to ride or ride to show, etc. Like, everything, there's no downtime. That sounds bad because it's your vacation, but it's very much point to point if you decide to do it that way. Obviously, you know, you do your vacation however you want to do it. We've done it that way, and I've always enjoyed it because you get a lot of the attractions in. But yeah, so full day there. So there's a lot of options. So as for favorite attraction there, there's a couple I got to shout out, you know, in general, and Papa Griff mentioned some of them in the topic he brought up, like Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. All fantastic rides. Those ones are great. Splash Mountain's really good too. I know they're going to be doing a refurb of that eventually. I don't know the exact timetable for that, but that's a good one. What else is in Magic Kingdom that stands out? Haunted Mansion's a good one. As a kid, that one I never wanted to go on. I was always terrified of it. I think Papa Griff himself, I think that's one of his favorite rides. But as I've gotten older, obviously, I've come to appreciate it a little bit more. And then riding the overlay during Halloween, they'll switch it to a Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, so they'll change some of the animatronics inside and the theming and everything. That was really cool. What else? The Fantasyland stuff, like, it's not the most exciting or like, whoa, that was amazing thrill ride, but like, I don't know. At Disney, you kind of, you know, you're a kid, or at least you want to, you know, let yourself not be, it's vacation mode. You don't want to be all serious. So like the Fantasyland rides, while they're not the most thrilling and like entertaining in certain aspects, it's like, personally, I always love doing them just because it's nostalgic. It's fun. I talked about previously on the podcast, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, how that stuck in my head. That's a good one. The Winnie and the Pooh one's a lot of fun. That's a good time. I've never done the Goofy coaster, the plain one. I'm blanking on the full name there, but I don't think there's much up in like Mickey's Toontown area. In California, I know they have the Roger Rabbit one, which was pretty cool. I've only ridden that once. That one was a lot of fun for a dark ride. Spins a lot, which I didn't expect it to do as much, so it was more combating the spin, so I wasn't able to fully take in everything, but it was a good time. You know, you make fun of it. Barnstormer, thank you. Yeah, I don't think I've done Barnstormer for Goofy's ride, but so what else is in Fantasyland? I don't think there's much up there. California's definitely got a little bit more of an elaborate one than Walt Disney World and Florida. Oh, okay. Another one that's up there for me. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but the Indiana Jones ride in California. Yes, Peanut Gallery. I know it was not up there for you. Indiana Jones ride I really enjoyed. It's a motion simulator, so I totally get, like, that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think the reason I had so much fun with it is just the high-paced action of, like, the storytelling. Like, you feel on edge or tension most of the ride, similar to the dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom, and I think that's a lot of fun. And I remember experiencing that for the first time. Just a blast. Mrs. G says, I thought we did the Born Summer. We might have. If we did, I don't remember it super well. Let's see. Yeah, the train that circles around the whole park and a lot of meet and greets. Yeah, that's mainly Mickey's Toontown and Disney World. So yeah, Indiana Jones for me is another one that's up there. It's not a ride per se, but it's kind of cool. The Huck Finn's or Tom Sawyer Island, that's pretty cool walk around. I don't know, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? I don't know realistically how long that's going to stick around for. Like, no offense, but Tom Sawyer's kind of a, I don't know if that's in the in the know with kids these days. So I don't know how long that will stay around. But it was a fun time, especially if you want to get away from the crowd and just kind of relax. Just walking those paths is kind of cool. And then it seemed like we always found something different each time, or maybe I just never retained the information to realize, like, oh, this is this part. So that was fun. Papa Griff's also bringing up the Speedway and Teacups. Oh, yeah, and wow, how did I forget about Snow White Mine Train, which is the newest one, at least for that area. So, yeah, Teacups, not my cup of tea. Spinning rides, not my thing. I could probably handle it, like going on it, but you're not going to be seeing me whip around in the little cup. Go, 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 go. Yeah, that, oh, boy.
Unless I'm throwing up afterwards.
Right, exactly. You're going to have to clear the system. Speedway was fun as a kid. I don't really know how much fun it is now. And then, yeah, the Snow White's Mine Train is a lot of fun as well. Very smooth roller coaster. Like every bank and turn feels just like you glide into it, which is really nice. And I think it's the basket technology that they used, how your car will move with everything and it's not rigid. I think that makes it really well. But that ride is a lot of fun. I wish it was longer. I mean, most of the rides I do wish they were longer, but that ride's definitely a lot of fun. It's kind of a shame they couldn't keep the old Snow White ride and, you know, just have the other one as in an addition. So they got rid of the original dark ride, but I get it. I think something replaced Snow White in the Scary Adventures or whatever the hell it was called. I might be wrong. I might be misremembering that, but you got that. And then Tomorrowland, what else was there? So we've talked about Space Mountain. Oh, wow. Really, really fun one. That's probably upper tier 2, even though it's nice and chill and nice and relaxing. Buzz Lightyear's Ranger Spin, aka Laser Tag the ride. So much fun. You get in your little buggy and you're blasting all these targets with your laser gun. And it's essentially just a little competition between you and the person you're riding in the car with. But yeah, Buzz Lightyear's Ranger Spin, or whatever the hell it's called, that's a fantastic ride. And then also in Hollywood Studio, having Hollywood Studio if you're in Florida, and then Paradise Pier or California Adventure in California, the Midway Mania, man, that one is just like the whole next step of that ride. I know it's tough for a few people with obviously the 3D glasses and dealing with the screens. But man, those are always a bunch of fun when I go on those rides. So yeah, I would say Buzz Lightyear's up there. Tomorrowland also had Stitch's Great Escape. That attraction is no longer there anymore. I think they replaced that with Monster Inc. Laugh Floor, if I'm not mistaken, unless Laugh Floor is in a different area. Regardless, Stitch isn't there anymore. Stitch was a fun experience. I know I kind of dragged my family as a kid going on that one. I'm not sure they enjoyed it. But that one was just like all in the dark, and it was like this stage show. The animatronics in that one were really cool, really awesome to see. But yeah, I get it. Not everybody's thing, and definitely not the best. Never gone on Astro Orbiter. Not sure if I'll ever do that. I mean, I think as a kid I was always like, holy shit, that's up really high. Not saying that verbatim, but it's like, that's up really high. I don't want to do that. So Astro Orbiter's there. And then Star Tours isn't there. Star Tours is over in California, which is another great ride, but I'm not going to count it because I'm kind of focusing on Well, no, I included Indiana Jones, which is California, so I guess I can include Star Tours. Star Tours is great. I remember as a kid, first time going on that, and I must have been so obnoxious and loud, but just like experiencing the simulator of that ride and like, oh my God, we're flying through stars right now. It feels so real, and this is awesome. I remember going, woo, you know, just shouting out everything. It must have been so annoying to everybody else in the fucking... I would do that today. That is true. But yeah, that one was a blast. Laugh Floor, I just brought up Monsters Inc.'s Laugh Floor. Entertaining, but yeah, not the greatest. Trying to think of what else is going on. I think I covered pretty much everything in... Pirates is good. We talked about that before. I think I've covered everything in Frontierland and Adventureland. Jungle Cruise is great. I haven't been on it in a while, and I think that will be more entertaining now. Like, as a kid, I didn't pick up on all the, you know, the corny jokes and the dad puns. I do remember as a kid going on the Jungle Cruise, and we were going into like the jungle ruins, and the captain was like, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm gonna cover my eyes. And I don't remember if he asked me to take the steering wheel or I just was right there when he said it. But yeah.
I'll get us to see.
Right. So yeah, we were going through the tunnels, and I remember it's like really dark, and there's this tiger animatronic there, and the glowing, piercing green eyes. That kind of spooked me, but the ride was fun. I think going on it now, I might get more of a kick out of it with all the dumb jokes, so I'm looking forward to going on that eventually. Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to do it in California, but, you know, that's all right. What else? Aladdin's Carpets is exactly the same as Dumbo, just, you know, a carpet ride. That one's okay. Tiki Room is nice to sit down, but it's just a show. That one's okay if you want to sit down for a few minutes. Country Bear Jamboree is the same thing. I'd say that's a lot worse than Tiki Room with those songs. Am I missing any big ones? Mrs. G brought up in the chat, lady's favorite ride of Small World.
It's not even fun.
I like it.
It's not even a good ride.
You get to chill out for a little bit. Yeah, you gotta deal with the song. I understand, but I think that's something.
Questionable depictions of race, but...
Yeah, it's an older ride. I mean, it's not. It could be worse. I mean, yeah. I think the thing, I don't know if Walt Disney World has done this yet, where they've updated it, but over in California, they've added the little animatronics for different Disney characters in their lands. And I think that was really fun, just being like, oh, it's, you know, Alice in Wonderland. Oh, it's, you know, Lilo and Stitch. Seeing them involved in the ride just kind of made a fun, like, little scavenger hunt for that. So that's another one that kind of fits in with the dark rides of Fantasyland, where it's like that nostalgia feature or factor. But it's not like, oh my God, I'm going on Small World. Like, I'm not hype and excited in the line for that one. What else? Okay, this one's a kind of another one of those cop-out ones. But over in California, in their Magic Kingdom, they now have the Star Wars land. They have Batuu there. And the first time experiencing that for myself was this most latest trip, not as a kid, in 2019. And, oh, man, that was awesome to experience just that world. Like, they did so well with the scenery and the design of the buildings and the overlay and everything that, like, just what's the term? It's like when you're in a movie, the disbelief, suspension of disbelief. Just like that totally overcame me personally, and just being like, holy crap, everything here looks fantastic. and I'm in this world, and then rounding the corner of the pathway to see the Millennium Falcon just sitting there, that was nuts. Unfortunately, during that time, Rise of the Resistance wasn't out yet, so the only attraction there was the Smuggler's Run, which was still fantastic. And that was busy as all hell. I can't imagine. I know Rise of Resistance has been popular. I can't imagine next time I do go, it will be a few years, but like dealing with that line to see how busy that is. That will be a different park. Florida has it in their Hollywood studio, but that was a great experience over there. I think that's all of the attractions, at least that I can think of. I might be missing out on some other ones. Like I think there's a Little Mermaid one, and California's got the Submarine Nemo one. So let's talk favorites. I've already kind of gushed about a few of these. I don't think I'll do like a top, like a ranking number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever it is, but definitely the rides I enjoy the most at Magic Kingdom specifically. I think Pirates of the Caribbean is a big one up there, and I think something that helps with that is just the nostalgia of thinking back of the refurbishment. I talked about this also on the podcast last we talked Disney, but there was one year where we went to Disney and they did a refurbishment of the ride where they added Jack Sparrow in at different points of the ride because, you know, the Pirates films were huge. So the launch was going to be some point during our trip, and we had heard that there was a soft opening for it, so pretty much it's open for riders to come in, but they don't like make it public or announce it or anything. So we had heard from another visitor that they were doing that, and we decided to try it out. And just like the excitement of like, oh my god, this is something brand new, and like it was all secret, not a lot of people knew about it, like that was a lot of fun. And then obviously seeing the animatronics, I'm sure now they probably look a little dated, especially comparatively to like newer animatronics we've gotten in over the years. But at the time, like the animatronic of Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow looked phenomenal. I was like, geez, that is so realistic. So he was added. I think Barbossa was added in the beginning, attacking with the Black Pearl on, Port Royal. Yeah, it was just a good time. I think they refurbished it again recently. Now Red is not part of the like ladies auction. She's like selling some merch, so that'll be interesting to see her new animatronic. And I guess learning this from Annual Pass, shout out to Rooster Teeth and the Annual Pass podcast. Go check them out if you like theme parks. The animatronic for the Wicked Witch of the West in the Great Movie Ride, her animatronic has been recycled and is now used for Red in the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. Apparently she's got a lot of articulation and movement that she can do, so it's going to be exciting to see that added to the ride and see how well that plays out. So Pirates is a good one. The California one's a little bit different with their introduction, which I'm not a huge fan of. It kind of goes around this restaurant and then kind of goes into the thing. I do like Florida's a little bit better, where you're going through like not a prison, but like the structure, and then it leads into the ride, while this one's you're outside in the open and then go to the ride from there. So Pirates is up there for me, especially once again because of that nostalgia of the past trip. Thunder Mountain's a great one. I think that's definitely up there as well, especially for excitement levels. Fun coaster, nothing too extreme. Has its moments of like, really exciting stuff, but not like anything that's going to break the bank or make you sick or anything like that. One feature that I wish Disney World had compared to California, both rides have the same scene, but California makes it a little bit more of a spectacle, where there will be a scene where you're in a mine shaft that they're trying to continue digging through, and they have a lot of TNT and stuff set up. In California, they have added, I don't know if it's lights or something to it, but they've added a sequence, I don't know if it happens every time either. A sequence where you'll see the lit fuses travel along the wall and eventually go to the big TNT up in the center, and it will light and explode. It was fun witnessing that for the first time. Just makes it a little bit more exciting continuing on to the ride. Florida does have the same thing, but they don't have that light spectacle, last I knew. So that one's up there for me. And then I'd say for my last one, I would say Space Mountain is going to be my top one. Space Mountain was one I was always scared of as a kid to go on to. But then as a teenager, I felt brave enough to tackle it. Coaster in the dark, single lanes. I think the ride itself is fantastic. Very smooth, and it's exciting. Obviously, being dark, you don't know 100% where you're going. I think something else that helps that one is the presentation going into it. Whether it's the hallways you walk in the queue or when you finally load your vehicle and going up and seeing like the space station like facade around you and going into that. One other thing that will make Space Mountain one of my favorites, and it's unfortunate because it was only a limited time thing, similar to we talked about the overlay for Haunted Mansion being Nightmare Before Christmas, but they had a Star Wars celebration one year when we happened to go, and they rethemed Space Mountain for Star Wars. Now, the coaster track obviously was all the same, and the ride vehicles were the same, but once you got into the ride, they did a lot of projections and like just graphics on the wall or as you're traveling by, and you were essentially put in a dogfight of Star Wars. You saw TIE fighters flying around, X-Wings flying around, and it just, even the audio inside your vehicle of like all the action taking place, was just really exciting. There's a moment where you're going down the track and there's a TIE fighter flying at you and shooting directly at you, which was intense. Just a lot of fun, and experiencing that with my cousin who joined us for the trip. We did extra hours at night, so like there's only a handful of rides open, but there's less people at the park, so you can pretty much get right back in the line and you're almost like right back on. I can't tell you how many times we went on that ride. So much fun, such a blast. So yeah, I think Space Mountain has to be the top right now, specifically for Magic Kingdom. If we were comparing obviously the other three parks into this, that ranking might be a little bit different, but that's for another topic down the road. So there's the rides. Moving on to the next part of the topic. When you were young, went to character spots for autographs and photos. What was your fondest memory? And did I have a number one meet and greet? I don't know if I ever had a number one meet and greet. I think thinking back now, like as an adult back to a kid, I was lucky enough to meet Max from Goof Troop and Goofy Movie. I think that was a cool one just because he's a little bit more niche that you need to know about. I will say the autographs. We did the autographs one year. I think this was maybe the second or third time I was there. And, they were fine to get. Like, it's kind of cool looking back and just being like, oh, who did I get? At the time, like in the moment, a little stressful. And I apologize to my parents if I wasted their time at all or made this weird. But I remember the first one. I think it was Jasmine or one of the other Disney princesses. We stand in the line. I don't know how long it was. As a kid, you never have the perception of time really down. But, it's a long line. I get up there. Obviously, I have this new autograph book. And I'm like, okay, this is the focus here. Like, how am I going to ask? Am I going to be awkward about it? Blah, blah, blah. Goes fine. Ask for the autograph. And I just walk away. No photo or nothing. Just like, oh, man. I was just so embarrassed of like, I just had you wait in this line this whole time for me. And like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I was just like, oh, man, you messed up. So I made sure the rest of that trip, anybody we went to meet, you got both. You got the autograph, you got the photo. So autographs are kind of for me. I don't know if I had a number one meet and greet. Like I said, Max was up there for me. The Toy Story characters were cool. Trying to think. There was one year where we went to see Mickey. You're probably like, well, that's a basic one. But it was right in Magic Kingdom, right at the beginning. I don't remember if it's Town Hall or one of those early buildings. But just seeing it's weird because, like, looking back now, if I were to look back at footage of either my own experience or some other people's experiences, seeing the costumes, sometimes you're like, oof, that's a little dated, or oh, that doesn't look as great as I used to remember that. But in your own experience, like in that moment, you never think about it. And like I never thought Mickey looked horrible or anything, or not like Mickey. And that's the thing, is like your own experience. I don't know if it's just like rose-colored glasses or whatever they call it. But he always looked cool. But seeing this one, like he blinked and the mouth moved. And it was just really cool. I don't know. It was just like, whoa, this is like, they've improved this shit. And I think that's a standard now for all the, characters, or at least the main ones that they can have, like Mickey, Minnie, to do that. I don't know if they have Donald and Goofy doing that yet. But it's just really cool. Really cool to see that kind of growth and like actually actively notice it in the moment of like, whoa, all right, cool. So I'd say that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. Nobody's really sticking out as a top meet and greet. Maybe if I looked back through photos or something, I'd be like, oh yeah, that was a really cool one. Souvenirs. Favorite souvenirs. As I was thinking about this leading into the podcast, there was only one example, well, one trip particularly that kind of stuck out. Once again, I think this was the third trip, maybe the fourth. But there was a year, I think it was the same year Pirates got refurbished, and we're all excited about that. At our hotel, in the gift shop, there was a Jack Sparrow figure. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the size of my elbow to my fingertips. Pretty tall, figure. And it wasn't like an action figure that you're going to play with. It was like one of more of those like statues you're going to display. Like it can articulate a little bit, but nothing's fancy. And you could swap out like different parts or different accessories and stuff like that. I just thought it was really cool. And I kept like looking at it, whatever we happened to be down there for, dinner or just checking out the gift shop or whatever it was. Really enjoyed it. And I kept thinking about it. And I think my birthday was around the same time this trip was, or something like that. But my family was very kind enough to get me the figure as a surprise. So got that at the park, freaked out about that. Oh, that's really cool. So I'd say that was a big one. The same year, I think I still have these, but they also were going really big on these like Orb Stuffed Animals. It was almost like not a beanbag, but like a squishy substance that was like just really soft and whatever. But there were orbs of the figures, or of the characters in the world. So there was Mickey, Minnie, Chip and Dale, Donald, Goofy. I think they had one for the Yeti from Everest. And they might have had some other characters as well. But I remember those, and I was like, oh, I want to collect those. So I got a couple of those. Those are really nice. Yeah, some nice gifts there. There's always a lot of souvenirs that you'll look at this Disney parks, and you're like, geez. Like some of them you're like, wow, this is really cool. And then there's other ones like, that's really nice to look at, but I'm not taking that. I think each of the Magic Kingdoms has like a glass, not a glass blower, but like some kind of jewelry or like figurines and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty, but no, I'm good. I'm going to pass on that. Restaurants, I think the top one, if we're talking like quick stuff, is Pizza Planet. Pizza Planet #1. Can't change my mind about that. That one's fantastic. It's not Magic Kingdom specifically, but that would be my favorite. Restaurants. The ones that come to mind, Canada and Epcot, really good food. I would say that one's up there. And then just for the fun of it, I I think it's the 80s diner, maybe it's the 70s. Somebody in chat will correct me. This is a diner in MGM Studios, or Hollywood Studios rather, excuse me. That it's good food. It's like family, not family style, but family cooking. I don't know, more relaxed meals. But the whole gimmick is you go in there and the waiters and waitresses don't treat you like crap, but they you're in their place, so you got to follow their rules. No elbows on the table, use your silverware, blah blah blah, please and thank you. And it's fun just because it's like a little give and take, and you're kind of joking around with them. I get it, that's not everybody's kind of thing, but it was fun. It was fun, and it was memorable. And I think that's the big thing for why it stands out as one of my favorites, or at least which ones I enjoyed, is just because of that memorable part of it. And then moving on to the last part of the topic, or the question, is resorts. If I could stay at any of the Disney resorts, which one would be on my list? They have a new Star Wars one coming out that looks exciting. I know they're probably booked way beyond belief now since announcing it, but that one might be cool to experience once they get the ball rolling. It sounds like it's a very interactive resort where you kind of take on a role, or you could take on a role and kind of play into a game of like doing certain missions or objectives throughout your trip, and that will interact with other things. I don't know too much about it, but that seems fun, seems exciting. And then I think the one I'd want to stay at, I'm blanking on the exact name of it. I think it's the art and animation one. I had a chance to go visit it one of the trips that I had gone, just because you can, visit the different hotels and resorts and check them out. But the theming and like decoration around the area of just all the different animated movies, they'll have statues of them, or they're interwoven in like the pools or whatever. That was really cool. But I think it would just be fun to see the art and layout inside the hotel rooms as well. See how they've used the artist illustrations, etc., for like either your art decor or maybe some theming in the hotel lobby or whatever it is. So I think that would be one I would want to go stay at if I had the opportunity to do that. But yeah, been a fun Disney topic. Thank you once again, Papa Griff, for that topic submission. If you guys ever have a topic that you want me to chat about, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below, or if you want to join our Discord community, you can put it in that tab over there, and we'll get to it at some point. But yeah, Papa Griff, once again, thank you very much. Moving on to topic number 2. I think this one will be a short one. I want to talk some more wrestling. Shocker, surprise there. So I was thinking back to a previous topic that we have done here on the show, where I kind of talked about NXT and their success failure rate to, bringing people up and their level of success. I talked about a lot of early call-ups and how maybe like they were kind of successful, but I get it how not everybody thought they were successful, or at least it didn't go the levels that they wanted it to. But I kind of had an epiphany the other day at work, and I was thinking back, and I'm like, you know what? NXT didn't really mess up as much as I think Vince and maybe the other higher-ups have thought it did. Obviously now NXT is kind of going through a big rebrand. They're going through NXT 2.0 right now, and they're focusing less on indie talent, so they're not hiring them, and they're focusing on their own homegrown talent to kind of fit into the system. As for that product, I only watch the opening week. I still stay, up to date mainly on like Twitter and social media for what's going on in it. But the show's definitely a lot different from the black and gold brand that we used to know. And it's got its pros and cons. I understand why they'd want to do it, like kind of make everybody their way off the bat. But it's not super engaging just because it's a lot of people that are new. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, how are you going to get better at stuff? You need the experience and you put in the time and the effort. I get that. But as a viewer, it's not exciting to watch. And don't get me wrong, there's still some indie talent there that was already signed previously. Ciampa's still there as champion. Gargano's there, but he hasn't been on TV. I think he might be hanging out with Candice while she's pregnant. You have MSK still there. You got Roderick Strong still there, Kyle O'Reilly, and, a few others, Io Shirai. But other than that, it's new people. So, anyways, I'm thinking back and I'm like, I know you didn't accomplish your goal of like NXT destroyed AEW and, that whole thing. But you got to give NXT some credit that like it actually has worked out in the main roster and WWE's favor. And while you didn't get a 1-to-1 ratio of like everybody coming out of that product or out of that brand as a star, how could you? How could you possibly expect that? That would be way too many people. And even think back to like the Attitude Era. Attitude Era, they had so many people on that roster. How many really like elevated and, catapulted themselves to the top? So I just kind of wanted to talk about like in their main roster now. Like I said, this may be quick. Like, how many people are NXT involved? Whether it was there, they were there for a minute or they were there for a couple years. And looking at even just the champions right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the champions right now have been involved in NXT in some way, shape, or form. Roman Reigns, Big E, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Shinsuke Nakamura, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, or Nikki ASH. All NXT. All NXT in some way, shape, or form. Now, granted, I get it. Shinsuke was big in Japan. Damian's been on the indie scene for however long. Riddle's got the MMA experience. Like, I get some of them have experience in the past with wrestling, so they have that coming in. But the fact that 9 of these people are your champions right now, you can't say NXT was a failure. That's kind of like stupid. Even if you're going to continue the rosters here, like people who are up there and doing things, like in the constant like rotation of storylines or round. Alexa Bliss is another one. NXT from the start. You have the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins, and I can picture his name or see his face. But I'm blanking on his name. Ooh, I'll find him eventually. Gotta keep scrolling. You know I'm talking about, Street Profits. This is probably great for audio listeners. I'm just gonna keep rambling. Hello. How are you today? Sir Montez Ford, Jesus, so sorry about that. People probably shouting at me like as they're listening. It's Montez. Street Profits are up there. For the ladies, obviously we got Bailey's on there, Bianca Belair, Asuka. Carmella's not everybody's favorite, but like Carmella, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Liv Morgan, like all NXT. You got Apollo Crews has been IC champion. He was in NXT. I know he took a little while to kind of get the ball rolling, so I get that one. Who else we got going here? Cedric. No, he was just Cruiserweight Classic. Chad Gable is a 50-50. He's been, he's in stuff, but since the tag team with Jason Jordan, unfortunately, American Alpha broke up, he's been kind of in this weird limbo. I know he's tagging with Otis right now, who also is NXT, but I don't know if they're super successful compared to some of these other ones. Already talked about Damian Priest. Obviously, he's doing great stuff over there. Doudrop's doing her thing. She's getting a little momentum, but we'll see how that plays out. Drew McIntyre, another world champion. I know he was in the company before, then went to Impact and some other indies, and then came back, but he did it did a little programming in NXT, so like it's working. Elias was huge on the main roster. Even in NXT, he was kind of Florida audience didn't really care for him, but he blew up on the main roster. You got the Viking Raiders. Not that they're bad, just like not a lot of success there for them. I think they've been tag champs, but other than that, Finn Balor obviously doing great things. Who else we got here? Swerve Scott, I think, is going to do fantastic stuff. We don't know about him yet. I don't know. Cross is doing stuff. The main thing I want to get at is just, I don't think this is as much of a failure as they keep claiming it is. There's people like Kevin Owens and others that have had a lot of success in the main roster and like have been part of like their main go-tos for a lot of this. Sami Zayn's another one I can think of. Like these people are involved in a lot of stuff. So it's just weird that they can kind of be like, oh, NXT's shit. Like, you're not doing what we wanted you to do, where it's building stars for the future. Like, wow. I get it. Once again, it's not maybe the one-for-one that they were hoping for. But honestly, with the amount of talent that they have, how you would never be able to use everybody. Like, it's just an insane amount of talent there. So it just thinking about it again kind of sucks. We'll have to see with 2.0. We'll have to see how this kind of plays out. Obviously, it's only a few weeks, maybe a month at most, of this brand change, of this rebrand, whatever it is. We'll have to see how the success rate for it. As of right now, iffy, but we'll have to see how it plays out. The thing I just can hope for is the indie talent that is still in NXT. Your Ciampas, your Garganos, your Strongs, Io Shirai, etc. Is these guys don't get the short end of the stick. And what I mean by that is, like, if they want to stay in NXT, if they want to do the role that, you know, probably corporate or whoever is giving them of like, hey, we have these green guys, these new guys, we need experience to help them out. If they're fine doing that, more power to them. Stay down there, help those guys out, let them get over, let them build an experience, or, you know, get the experience they need. But I don't want it to be just a new wave of like, all new guys have to be the champion, and like, you guys are the old crowd stuff, we don't care about you anymore. If you go up to the main roster, like, if they do make that move, cool, but I want them to be successful up there too. Especially like for how many years some of these people and talents have been around in NXT, to just be like, you know, you're trash. Oof, big yikes. So yeah, just some quick thoughts on NXT call up wise, success rate. Just wanted to revisit, rehash, I don't know, something I wanted to vent about. So moving on to topic 3, I want to talk about the new Netflix sensation, Squid Game. Wanted to talk about that. I know it's still relatively new, so if you have not watched Squid Game yet, for the first minute or two, I'm kind of going to give my overall general thoughts on the show. No spoilers, nothing like that. I'll give that to you guys. I'll let you know, hard spoiler mark. If you guys haven't watched it yet and you want to peace out, totally fine. Totally understand that. Come back and listen after you watched it all and let me know what you thought. So yeah, Squid Game has been going on Netflix. I think it's been out for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. So Lady and I decided to give it a try, because we had seen some rumblings online of just like people's opinions on it, and obviously a lot of people are talking about it. So we're like, okay, maybe this is something we should try. And we gave it a shot last Saturday, I believe is when we started it. And we watched the whole thing that Saturday, Sunday. It's about 9 episodes long. Most episodes are an hour long. I think one is about 40 minutes. And the show is just a lot of fun. It's a really good show. Very compelling in the story they're telling. And the characters that they are, you know, providing to you are very interesting and intriguing. whether it's their backstory or the actions they will take throughout the series, for their own motivations or for others. Just fun to figure out or fun to see. And then another factor of this is the show has a bit of a mystery element to it, of figuring out why the events of this show are taking place and who's really pulling the strings behind these things. If you don't know what the show is, Squid Game is I believe it's a South Korean product, or at least it takes place there. And it is a show about a gentleman who is down on his luck. He is in debt and he just is struggling. He's struggling to support himself and his mom, and then also has a daughter who is living with her mother and the new husband and father there, and he's trying to figure out like how he can bounce back. He gets the opportunity to make some money by getting invited to essentially a game show, and this game show is kind of like a battle royale if you want to think about it in video game terms. And the game show is a series of games that kids play on the playground, and if you move on each round, you can win a giant cash sum. However, there's a twist on it. You do not simply just lose the game. If you do lose the game and the outcome does not go in your favor, you will be eliminated from the competition and killed. And from this earth, exactly. You will be killed. You will be murdered. So it is figuring out, or the show is about figuring out what the fuck is going on and seeing if and how any of our characters that we are introduced to survive and make it to the end. Very fun, very thrilling and engaging. It's one of those shows that your eyes are going to be glued to the TV and you're just going to be very engaged and like in sync with it. And not everything's going to get answered, and some things are left open to, theories and talks and stuff like that. But I think that also helps to its level of interest and how intrigued is. You'll get the answers you're looking for, but then there's just that little bit extra that's still fuzzy that like leads you to want more. So yeah, highly recommend this show if you have the time to watch it and the interest. One thing that may be a little bit of a hang up, once again, is a South Korean product. So all the actors are Korean and it is Korean language. There is a dub over, which that's how we watched it. But I can understand how the dub over subtitles, however you choose to watch it, can be a little disengaging. I think if you can get past that, you're off to the races. That's great. If it's something you find that you struggle with, my recommendation is do the dub, the voiceover, English actors. Focus on their eyes. Focus on the emotion that they're showing there and the acting there. I think that will help. If you try and focus on their mouth, that sometimes that disconnect of like the actual spoken word and the dialect can be a little bit jarring and kind of take you out of it. That would just be my recommendation. Obviously everybody's different, but that may be the only little bump in the road to being a little bit hard to enjoy it. But I don't think it's that big of an obstacle that you need to be like, I can't try this show. Definitely try it. Go from there. Speaking of go from there, now we are going to go into the spoiler section of Squid Game. So I'm not going to talk point to point like every story thing that happened, but I am going to talk about specific characters, what happened to those characters, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I think about the ending. So just fair game. From now on, I am talking spoilers for Squid Game. So this is your exit point if you have not watched it and don't want to be spoiled. 3, 2, 1. Okay, hi, Squid Game. Spoilers. Man, this show sucks. The characters that you get attached to just whoop gone, bye. I'm an asshole now. Like, man, they do a really good job of making you care and then flipping it on you. There was a couple times with the main character. I'm not going to remember anybody's name, so I do apologize. I will just use descriptors of what their character was. Our main character kind of flipped a couple times for me. Like, I want to believe in him because he's the main character, right? I know from a general storytelling mindset, this is the guy that's going to the end. So I have to be invested in him. I have to get behind him, or at least, have some kind of care. There's a couple times in the show he kind of flips on me and I'm like, he is piece of shit. And I think the biggest example of that is the older man that he takes advantage of the dementia for. And we see that obviously in the marble game where he sucks at it. And then he has to use this advantage of using the old man's dementia against him. And, he does win you back in the end. But I do remember watching that whole episode of the games and just hating him. Just being like, you piece of shit. Like, I felt for you in these previous episodes and, got behind you. It was like, yeah, you're going to do it. You got a good heart. But, like, that little section, like, I got angry. And I get it. It's life or death. Literally, when they know they're head to head in that moment. So he's got to do what he has to do. But that just made me angry. I'm glad that they did pull it back around towards the back half of the series or the later run of it or whatever, of like, I was really pulling for him again to win. And I think something that helped out with that is having such big antagonists or characters that, like, I was rooting against. Obviously we open up the show, or at least the competition, with the gangster character, who's obviously the clear, like, dickhead. And he's a piece of shit. We don't care about him. You do get moments of, like, not hope for him, but sympathy of, like, it's a ploy of, like, oh, I'm this big tough guy, but he's scared at times and, like, he shows weaknesses, so you can relate a little bit. But for the most part, he's a piece of shit. So you have the easy one with him, but then you also have the best friend come in towards, once again, the same point where I thought main character was a dickhead of the Marvel game, where he's kind of a piece of shit. And you get allusions to it or little nods and hints at it early on in the series too, with the cookie thing. I don't remember the name of the game, where he could have warned the main character that the umbrella was not the route to go, but he decided not to. But yeah, once we get to the marble, like, he was smart. He did what he needed to do, but he turned on the homie. He turned on the assembly line worker, the Indian gentleman, blanking on his name, but turns on him, steals the marbles from him, essentially wins them fair and square, whatever you want to say, and gets him killed. And then he goes, like, full-on villain after this point. With the panes of glass, he pushes the guy that helps them to discover which pane is good, which one is not, and he kills our teenage girl, the girl who's just trying to get money for her brother and let him have a good life. Fucking murders her. She was already dead. Just let her die. Why'd you have to fucking Super Saiyan sprint over to her bed and, do that? It's just like, ooh, boy, man, you... Early on, he had me. I was like, yeah, I want this guy to be cool too. But then, good storytelling. Fuck that guy. So yeah, we had the thief girl. She was an interesting one. I didn't really feel sympathy for her until closer to the end. Man, the marble episode really had a lot of, like, this is the flip and the downhill for a lot of characters. She was the flip for me for that point. Obviously, we had the interaction with the other girl who had nothing and made the sacrifice for her and her brother. But seeing her be vulnerable, because the rest of the show, at least up to that point, she was just like I'm tough and I don't give a shit, and you know, just she was a lone wolf, and it was hard to sympathize with her in that moment. And I know she had to, because who else did she have? She had literally nobody. So she's got to do this for herself, and once again for her brother, to give him a better life. But yeah, she won me over towards the end. That was a hurtful one, once again, seeing her die, especially at the dude's hand and the knife. And then, yeah, we got the character who, in one episode, won everyone over by sacrificing herself at the marble game, being the other girl. She was just kind of randomly thrown in during the tug of war, and I was like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, she really had a lot of character development in one episode, and that just shows the strength of, obviously, the actress and then the writing that she was given for her and her character. Old man, best character there is. Just showing, like, obviously he has his struggles with health, and that's unfortunate, and you want him to get better, so you're cheering him on. But then just, I don't know if it was the mental health, like, taking effect or whatever, but his innocence, especially in the red light, green light episode, his innocence and just, like, joy of just playing the game and not recognizing what's going on around him. People are being shot for moving. Just rooting him on, and, you know, glad that he was pulling through these games, whether it was red light, green light, whether it was the cookie, whether it was the tug of war. Unfortunately, you know, his health did deteriorate, and we saw the fate of that in the marble game. But then seeing what the old man actually is at the end of the series, seeing that he was pulling the strings here, a little concerning, but also kind of intriguing, of, like, just obviously this is the overall point of the whole show, like, why this game is even happening. This man is so rich that he's bored out of his fucking mind that he's gonna, you know, puppeteer the poor, the people, you know, in dismay, and make this sick and twisted game. That was an interesting twist to it. If you pay attention, you can notice it early on with the owl mask, how it is the old man's hand. And I did have that epiphany when it happened, but I was like, you know, it's one of those, like, was that? Wasn't it? You couldn't 100% confirm for yourself until later on. So yeah, that was intriguing. Going into, like, the whole Squid Game, like, troop and armada, in some ways it delivered a lot. It delivered this mystery of, like, what's going on, who's really in charge, who are these fucking assholes in their animal masks, yay America, like, who are these pieces of shit? But then there's other ways where it kind of just not fell flat, but it kind of, like, made you scratch your head a few times. And there's two examples I can think of where it did this. And the first example is, I think, in episode 2 or 3, where they're doing the sugar cookie thing. And there's the one guy who's going to fail, or does fail, and he rebels against the guards. Gets a weapon of some kind, holds one of them hostage. There's the whole standoff. He asks the one guy he has as hostage to take his mask off. Guy takes off his mask, and it's a younger gentleman. This guy flips out and is like, oh my God, you're just a kid, blah, blah, blah. And then he shoots himself. Okay, compelling, interesting. There's kids under these masks. What's going on here? Then we just never bring that up again? Or the people under the mask weren't kids? Interesting. Was it just that this happened, this one circle or whatever shape he was just happened to be a kid? Okay, fine. Weird that this man decided to shoot himself after that, but what do I, like, I think that would have made more sense if they were all kids and you're like, these kids are sick and fucking twisted. We're doing all these fucking horror games over here and their kids are running it? I don't know if the man who shot himself came to that own conclusion of himself where he thought that was the case. But as an audience member later on, I'm like, I don't... Yeah, right, whatever. That was a thing that happened. The second example that I can think of this, like, fall off was the whole doctor and organ gathering stuff. So they're doing this, you know, a couple of them are doing their own thing, making some money on the side. Okay, that's fine. I get that. They had this whole system. They have a morgue down there. They got the little drop boxes for the bodies that don't get incinerated so they can be operated on. But it's a secret hush-hush thing, right? Main mask man isn't supposed to know about this, as far as I know. Maybe he is. And there's like maybe 6 or so people that know about the whole organ operation. Okay. How are they getting these organs before this doctor's in the games? Were they doing it themselves? Did this doctor just come back again to play? Did they have other doctors? Like, yeah. So I don't know. As I'm talking it out right now, maybe Big Bad Mask Man, not Old Man, Gray Mask Man. Maybe he knew the whole time. Maybe he was the kingpin of this operation to kind of take a little bit of money on the side, not letting Old Man Jones know about it. Maybe that was the, like, we're going to chop them at the knees a little bit, take a little bit more advantage here. Okay, fine, if so. But yeah, I'm curious how that whole operation worked prior to it. And then also, wow, I just totally went blank. How the operation worked before it and how long it went for it. And then, man, I am all over the place with this episode. So I just said, oh, maybe the guy in the gray mask was behind this. And he's like, oh, I'm going to chop him at the knees, take money for myself. But then, he's all about like, oh, the games are supposed to be fair. I got to kill every motherfucker here, including the doctor. And like, I apologize for this not being fair. Was that him just saving face for the rest of the Squid Kids and the old man? Or was he actually upset? Maybe I got to rewatch it back. I don't know, but that's a thought. That's a food for thought. The cop, the detective. Great character. Very invested in him. Cool he made it this far. Very lucky at some points that he made it this far in his little tenure and investigation. That's a story point that leaves me with more intrigue and like way more questions than they were answered. Obviously, we get the big reveal that the masked man running the games, not the old man, gray mask, is his brother. Is the brother he's been looking at for this whole time. Oh my god. All right, cool. Brother shoots detective brother. Papow eliminates him. Detective brother mentions you already know, or you know this. Something about him knowing something. That's it. Cliffhanger. What does that mean? What? What? Can I have some kind of more context with the Gray Mask Man? His backstory? I know he won the game. Good for him. What? Anyways, so that's an untied loose end that we have. Our finale. Main character's obviously going to win it. Yippee! He gets all the money. Doesn't do dick with it for a year. Okay, I get it. You went through a lot. I think you would kind of try and buy yourself some food and not be all raggedy. But whatever, you know. Good on you. You just killed 99 other people. Well, not you particularly. And it was way more than 99. It's not a battle royale, Bret. It's just the concept. It's a lot of people. You got the money. He does the right thing. Supports the mom of his friend. Supports the son of the lone wolf girl. Great. Good job. Proud of you. We're going to go over to America. We're going to support our daughter. We're going to, be a good dad. Good. Good for you. We're going to dye our hair red. Okay. Whatever. We see him traveling train station talking to his daughter, saying, yeah, I'm going to be in America. I'm really excited, yada, yada, yada. We see him come face-to-face, or almost face-to-face, with the gentleman he ran into the beginning of the series, where he got involved in the Squid Game. Oh shit, this is still an operation. Ooh, who's running it? Old man's out of the picture now. Old man died. I forgot to bring that up in between. Old man died in this future post-game event. So who's running it now? Is it still all the American dickbags? Seemed like they were just there to get their nuts knocked off or whatever. Like, is it Grey Mask? Did he take over? If so, where did he get the money? Did he just inherit it from Old Man? Is Old Man related to Grey Mask and Detective Man? Maybe. Who knows? I guess we'll figure that out later. Anyway, Squid Games are still happening. We get the little face-to-face confrontation. Oh shit. Now we're compelled. We have a new card from the Joe Schmo over here who's getting his face slapped. So now we have that compelling boom, boom, boom factor. He's going to go to the plane. He's going to call the number. He's going to essentially fucking take in this shit. I'll find you. I will kill you. You don't have my daughter, but still. And we're obviously going to see him not go on the plane, which is very sad because, you know, his daughter is getting the short end of the stick by far on this whole thing. Once again. And he's going to, you know, which makes sense. He's going to try and stop this entity, the Squid Game thing, for good. And that will lead us to the end of the series. Ends there. And we might get a follow-up. There's no confirmation, at least at this point. I think it's all speculation if a season 2 is happening. At this moment, I can't see why they wouldn't make another or make more. Because A, obviously this thing is blown up way more than they thought it would. I think there's interviews of the actors being like, yeah, this was just a thing we did. Not expecting the success rate. And the way they left it off, there's obviously more story to tell. Whether it is obviously with this main character and how he particularly stops the challenge. I don't think he would put himself back into the games to do that. That would be very risky. So it's going to be interesting to see how he would do that. Also, you have this open end with the family, with the detective and Grey Mask. Like, why is Grey Mask doing this now? Did he just learn from his past experience of winning the games, being like, you know what, I want part of this. Like, obviously this is doing something. And like, who's running it? Is Grey Mask running it, or is it somebody else? And then clearly this operation goes bigger than South Korea. Like, obviously the American dickheads are here. Is it just their patrons? And it's like, I have a lot of money. He. I was friends with Old Man, so I just am bored and want to bet on the horses, except it's not the horses. Maybe that's just the case. I don't know. But I'm very intrigued and interested to see where this continues and if it does continue. If it doesn't, it will hurt a little bit just because those questions won't be answered. But honestly, I'd be fine with that because of how strong of a story this is. And I know some people listening are probably like, what? You'd be fine with it ending there? That was fucking awesome. We need more. I get it. But I don't want it. It's one of those things. It's like, do you take more and risk it going sour? Or do you leave it where it is and keep it good? I'm not saying that a sequel would ruin it or it wouldn't live up to expectations. I'm not trying to shoot it in the head like this game before anything happened. No, I'm not saying they can't succeed. They obviously could succeed. A lot of things have. There's sequels upon sequels upon sequels for anything. It's just like, I'm not in a rush. If it happens, I'll be happy when it happens. If it doesn't happen, this was a blast. A fucking blast. And it was awesome. Especially with no expectations going in and never hearing about it before all this internet blow up. Just really cool. Really cool to watch. Really cool to experience. And I hope you guys who did watch it enjoyed it too. And if you stuck around for all those spoilers and you haven't watched it, hopefully you give it a chance now. Or, you know, you're just like...
You just heard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, forget everything I just told you, but you know, you can still get something out of it. Or you're just like, Bret gave me a summary. I'm good. I didn't do justice.
No.
Shut up. I tried. But yeah, great show. Highly recommend. This has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching or listening this today. If you want to catch the podcast live, you can go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat like Papa Griff and Mrs. G did today. If you're a subscriber over there, we'd love to have you. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. It's over on YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken up topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Hashtag add merch store. You get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. It would be greatly appreciated. And then remember, last but not least, announcement. Extra Life 2021 is happening on November 20th of this year. Saturday to Sunday, 24 hours of gaming, raising money for Children's Miracle Network Hospital. So if you can help us out there, whether it's by watching, donating, or just spreading the word, it would be awesome. Appreciate you guys hanging out today, letting me gush about some Disney, some wrestling, and Squid Game. It was a lot of fun chatting with you guys today. Looking forward to more of these podcasts. They keep getting better and better, and I get more excited, especially with some future episodes coming up of just the momentum we have, and the guests we're going to have on should be some good conversations. Appreciate you guys hanging out today. Give it a watch, give it a listen, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.